You might look at this lead toy figure and think cowboys and Indians. You might ponder that it should have been cowboys and Native Americans, but the child who it belonged to knew no better. You might look at it and hear the youthful sound effects of gunshot, the thwap of bow and arrow, the resonating war shout, hand quickly slapping over their mouth, and some laughing. The child this belonged to only knew the tales passed down, the portrayal of this, quote, good versus evil rivalry in movies. Yes, I'm assuming this toy belonged to a boy. After all, it was made sometime between 1920 and 1950. Not to stereotype the times, but it was a time with many stereotypes. But I look at this toy figure, I pull it from the bottom of the stream and hold it in my hands, and I think it represents the coming of age. Perhaps not to the dramatic extent of the group of kids in Stand By Me on a quest to find a dead body, but a loss of innocence all the same. In the stream this was found in, we have literally found dozens of pounds of lead. Old homemade sinkers, nothing more than a hunk of lead with a hole, hem weights repurposed, bale seals, even sinkers made from bullet molds. Mixed in all those sinkers were coins going back as far as the 1700s. And this spot has a concentration of fish. I think they are carp, but I'm not an expert. I just see them swim by in schools. They are large, but not catfish or trout. People have fished here for at least 200 years. Maybe the slight bend in the stream, or the depth of the middle, or the runoff of cool spring water keeps the fish coming back. I detect among the offspring of the ones that got away back in the 1800s, the descendants of the fish that knew better than to grab onto the hook, or were lucky enough for the line to break, leaving behind the sinkers that I would later find. And among all those sinkers, this one toy. It wasn't found right on the edge of the stream, but several feet in what is waist-deep water for me. Often when I find something metal detecting, I wonder how it got there. I make up my own stories to fill the gaps, and in this one instance, I could only guess this was lost by a child playing on a hot day in the water. And maybe during the heat of imaginary battle, it was tossed. But I think about the fish swimming by and how enticing they would have been to a young boy who is growing past the age of imaginary play and into more of a grown-up role. Fishing is such a cutover activity. When young kids saddle up to their parents on the banks, happy to toss the bait into the stream and fish it in, but at some point the child goes off on their own to fish, having mastered all the components. And I think on one such trip, needing some weight to pull the bait to the bottom, the boy grabs this lead figure. After all, he has seen his father repurpose other pieces of lead. He knows the expression waste not, want not. He knows of the Great Depression and conservation of resources from the efforts during World War II. To him, this makes sense. He grabs this toy figure, one he played with for several years, and decided the risk of losing it was worth catching a fish. He knows he hasn't played with it for months, if not a year or two. He knows he will never play with it again. He knows the exhilaration of pulling in a fish is far more than imaginary battles. He's content growing out of childhood, a bit impatient to be a grown-up, but sad at the same time.